I was a commercial artist first. Well, I was good at painting at school and then at art school. At school as well, I was in a kind of school band. We were all in a rock and roll band. They're doing Buddy Holly songs and things like that. And when I went to art college, I learned to play harmonica. I was a big fan of blues, anything from Ray Charles to Buddy Guy to Muddy Waters. I started sort of playing in my spare time in bands. I went to London. I was born in Shoreham-by-Sea in Sussex on the south coast. I went to London. I basically had what was almost a nervous breakdown, really, headed back down to my hometown. This is after taking on too much work and not being able to afford to do it and all that sort of stuff, in the commercial art field. It was a damp squib of a career. I went back down to my hometown, found a lot of my old mates were, by that time, pretty good at their instruments, and they were all in bands. I joined the bands, worked in a small factory, went to an audition. At the audition was a guy called David Courtney, who played drums for Adam Faith in a earlier incarnation. Mm-hmm. It happened overnight. As soon as I met Adam, he really wanted to make a record, and he thought we were great. He loved the songs. It happened that quickly.
All this, really, in terms of recording, happened in 73. The album, Silver Bird, the single, Show Must Go On, one-man band came in 74.
We started with Adam in about 72, I think. That was when the audition was. And, we went up to Richard Branson's studio, The Manor in Oxfordshire, and honed together a record. Met Roger Daltrey in the middle of it, recorded in his studio. He did Giving It All Away and one-man band, and had a kind of mild chart success out of that, a big chart success in America out of that. And, that really sort of put me on the road.
Both sides of the Atlantic, incredible success for about 12 or 13 years. I mean, it must have been a major shock to the system.
Oh, it was stunning, but I'd luckily had some experience. I'd met some famous people, and I'd had a lot of mates of mine in bands and things like that, so I'd been on the periphery of it, so it didn't immediately go to my head that much. It went to my head a bit, I must admit. For instance, the first time I went to the States was in 74, and Three Dog Night, an American band, had seen me performing on Top of the Pops and recorded The Show Must Go On, and that was an instant #1 hit in America. So there was I on tour, and not only the Roger Daltrey thing before me, bang, they've had a hit as well, so with the same song, and it was something to live up to, I saw quite a few sort of styles come and go in that time, and I guess we encompassed them, I mean, You Make Me Feel Like Dancing was a very early disco hit, and yet it was a little bit ahead of its time, Thunder in My Heart as well was a bit, ahead of its time. So those kind of things were an example of trying out different styles and seeing what worked. But the body of work that I've got is very varied, and that's exciting to me. That makes it very alive to me. There's not much relationship between, say, one man band and When I Need You, but at the same time they fit together.